A lot of people are going through identity crisis.
Yes.
And I've realized that a lot of people are under imposed identity, some fake identity, some false identity. And many people are finding it difficult to connect to their true identity.
Okay.
So there's a lot of identity crisis in the world today. You see a man trying to become a woman. You see a woman trying to become a man. Somebody trying to play catch up on their sexuality and trying to understand and unravel the mystery behind who they are.
Which one will be best? Which one will suit
exactly.
their confidence, suit their acceptance?
So they talk about sexual orientation. All of this is just a picture of identity crisis that the whole world is submerged in that crisis right now. So many people are finding it difficult to come to terms with who they are. Some people are finding it difficult to even accept
who they
are. So a lot of questions unanswered in the hearts of men, leading them to all manner of things. Yes.
A lot of questions leading them to, not all manner of questions, but leading them to seeking for all manner of answers.
Yes, at different places.
Always lead people to searching for answers.
Yes.
And that is where people go wrong.
True, because in the bid to search for answers, some people look for answers in the wrong places.
Yes.
And truly many people are looking for answers in the wrong places.
Some people get the wrong answers.
Yes, because they've asked the wrong person.
Yes.
And so they keep going deeper into the mess of their crisis.
So every question has a right or wrong answer.
Yes. So if the person is unfortunate to get connected to someone that gives the wrong answer, the person goes deeper into the mess.
Somebody that gives an unfortunate answer.
Yes.
Produces unfortunate results.
Yeah. And for every answer, there's either there's true or false.
Yes.
So when somebody asks a question on identity and gets a false response, the person has a false identity.
Yes.
Yeah. And the person goes along with that false answer into a false identity.
Yes.
And that's why you see that we have a lot of parents that are also going through this identity crisis, and they pass it on to their children. Many people are trying to live the lives they think they should live through their children. So you realize even parenting is a major problem too as a result of identity crisis.
Some people
much is going
cannot
on.
even define the type of parent that they are.
Yes.
Some people, many people are still having issues, not just defining who they are. They don't also know what type of parent they are.
True.
And so that when they find themselves among their colleagues, and they see what they are doing compared to what they are doing, what their colleagues are doing compared to what they are doing, when they meet this kind of contradictions, sometimes many people feel threatened and they want to drop their own.
Yes.
They want to blend. I want to be the type of parent that my children are seeing.
And because of identity crisis and what you mentioned now, people trying to compare themselves with themselves, we now have a world full of competition. I want to look like you. I want to behave like you. I want to have what you have, because I don't understand that I should be comfortable with who I am.
Okay.
And if you don't even know who you are to start with, how do you get comfortable with who you are? So everybody's trying to be like that celebrity. Everybody's trying to be like that popular person. Everybody's trying to, blend in. Everybody's trying to be among. That's why you've realized that a lot of people are connecting to social circles or networks that are ultimately helping them to blend in and not to stand out, because your identity will allow you stand out and not blend in.
Your identity will allow you to stand out and not blend in.
Yes.
And if you are not aware of who you are, there is no chance to stand out.
Yes, no chance to stand out.
And one thing about that is, if you don't know who you are, the problem with standing out comes with confidence and self-esteem.
Yes.
Because you can't stand out if you are not confident and are aware about what you want to stand out differently as, or what you want to stand up differently for. So otherwise, when you stand out, you begin to feel odd and you are threatened. And so you want to mix up, thinking that if you can mix up, your life will be better off. True. Will be better off because people won't be able to separate you from the rest. You just look like every other person. You feel a bit secured.
Yes.
Even though you are insecure, you feel secured in being lost in the crowd. And for me, I believe that the true authority comes not by blending in, but by standing out.
Standing out. But many people are, submerged in that low self-esteem, low self-worth state. And the question of who are you is a question of identity. Many people, I think from growing up, I remember back in the day when I was growing up, I was always wanting to be like my elder sister. I wanted to have what she had. I wanted to be who she was. And it's not possible because we're not the same. My sister is different from me. Even though we're born, from the same mother, we were not the same. We can't be the same. And I think if parents are not careful in raising your children, it starts with how you even compare your children and say, why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be like your sister? You're already creating an identity crisis there, right there.
See your head, see your mouth. You are not even like your sister.
Like your sister, like your brother. So you're already creating room for identity crisis here. You should be able to know your child individually, celebrate their uniqueness.
And I think the issue with parents as it regards that area is convenience and easy way out.
Yes.
It becomes challenging for parents to help each child to stand out because that will demand each parent to spend time with each child. And so since we don't have time to specialize and say, this particular child, what does he need? What does he want? This child, what does she need? What does she want? Can I give it to him? Can I give it to her? Can I meet him or her at the point of his or her need? Since parents don't have this latitude of space and time and resources, then they generalize. They want every child to fit into maybe the first child, in the mode of the first child. Like I've invested in the first child and let all the rest follow
Line up behind
her. Think like her, talk like her, make choices like her. And if you don't do that, you'll be flogged. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to make each child that is coming up to feel threatened by because of their individuality.
Yes.
So every time they think they are different, they feel threatened by it because they feel they are different from the rest.
Or I'm not supposed to be different. They find it even difficult to believe.
Apologetic.
Yes, they become apologetic. Yes, I love that word. They become apologetic. They feel they're no longer comfortable with their uniqueness. They are trying to find a similarity. They are trying to find a point of an identity with that mold that you've created. So be it their elder sister or you yourself. Because some parents will say, why can't you be like your father? Why can't you be like your mother? Forgetting that it can actually be like you. Because you gave birth to them doesn't mean that they should be like you. They have their own unique traits, their own unique packaging, and their unique identity.
And you know one thing about that unique packaging is that a woman does not get pregnant on her own. And a man cannot have a child on his own. There is a need for a man and a woman to come together before a child can be conceived. So when a man and his wife comes together and a child is conceived, it is therefore inappropriate for a man or a woman to think that child is going to be like him or her, like his wife. Because you have already come together to have him or to have her. So she's going to be taking trait from you, taking trait from the mother, and she's going to be having his or her own uniqueness, peculiarity.
Yeah.
So it's important we realize. So don't say you're just supposed to be, because she's a girl, you have to be like your mother. No, she's already sharing some things from the father, even though she's a girl. And so she can't also think like her mother. So that is why we must celebrate the uniqueness of each person.
Yes, it's very important. It's important, and it's important for parents to also understand that the things you say about your children also form their because we call the growing up years as formative years.
Yes.
Now, what you're also forming is the identity of that child. Now, when you speak and say, "Oh, you don't know how to do anything," it becomes an identity, and I think that's where false identity comes from. children at the formative years take on the identity of your words, what you say to them. You're good for nothing. That's already a word that is already forming an identity
in them.
So in them, and that child grows up and feels mommy said
that settles it.
Yes, and that voice forms a very strong opinion
in
that
them.
drives their identity. So whatever they are doing, there's just that voice that you can't do it right. You can't do it well. Your mom said you can't do it. And that voice, so until there comes to a time where that child breaks off from the burden of your words, that child will continue to carry that imposed identity because your words have imposed an identity on that child.
Yes.
So you must be careful. Parents, it's important parents are careful on how they relate with their children. I remember growing up, one of the things my dad will always say to me was that you can become anything you want to be. And really, that word for me, I believe there was nothing I could not do. If I wanted to be a science student at the time, I believe I could do it. If I wanted to be an art student, I could do it. Because Daddy said, there is nothing you cannot do. You have the brain for it. You are smart enough to do it. And that till today, I believe there is nothing I cannot do because my father said that to me. So imagine if he didn't say that. So imagine that he said the opposite. What would have happened, with me today? So it's important we learn that the identity is such a powerful force. It forms whoever that child is going to become
in days and years to come.
Yes,
that's important. That's important. I also realized that when we look at our societies, we can really realize that the problems of our societies also come down to identity issues. Identity issues. If the identities of people can be fixed, the society as a whole can be fixed.
I agree.
The rat race will not continue if we understand that I'm not like every other person.
Yes.
They are doing it doesn't mean I should do it. No matter where we find ourselves, that everyone is doing it doesn't mean I should do it. I'm different.
Yes.
I'm unique. And I have my own unique peculiarities and unique principles that guides my life. So what binds on them does not necessarily bind on me. I have the capacity to ask myself the right question. There is a saying in Yoruba land that remember the child of whom you are.
Yes.
And the reason why the parents say that to their children is that even though you find yourself in places in the society and your friends, your colleagues are doing certain things, you don't have to feel threatened or feel a need to join them. You can just be different. You can be different. You can find confidence in your difference. You don't have to be threatened because you are different. You don't have to be.
Yeah, that's important. And in the society today, I remember you mentioning the rat race that is going on. It's because parents are also losing it in terms of values. We realize that some parents even push their children out of the house in search of more money, more opportunities. And
imagine people that tell their children that your friends are making millions. What are you doing?
Yes, that's your friend that you went to secondary school together, just bought a car for his mother.
And the mother is aware that the boy is not working with any company.
Exactly. So you see the kind of identity, how we also twist the identity of of people with expectations. When you have the expectation you will have of a doctor is different from the expectation you will have of a lawyer.
Yes.
And that's why, because they are different people. Their wiring is different.
So the professions also come with identity.
Yes.
Differences.
So when you have a child that loves to paint, that loves to imagine, that loves to be creative, and you now force that child to become a doctor, what kind of doctor do you think that child will become?
Or to behave like the medical student.
Yes. You will see that there's some doctors now that are going into
other things
because
they almost go into, some doctors can become YouTubers.
Yes, because their interest originally
is media.
They had nothing to do with medicine.
Acting, doing all manner of things.
Yes.
And so it's important, and I think even though we are talking about identity, in this episode of Destiny Uncut, I believe it's important we see how it connects with a lot of things. The job we do, the works we sign up for, the courses we go for to study, the kind of man we choose to become, the kind of woman we choose to become. Everything that our lives will be is going to be determined at that point of dealing with identity. Mm-hmm. And so if there will be a future for any man, any woman, that person must have settled the matter of his or her. That man must have settled the matter of his identity.
Very true.
So and the responsibility also comes to parents. What I wanted to say is that we are dealing with destiny. We should be connecting with individuals who are going through things, but we still find ourselves talking to parents because individuals will begin from families.
Yes, and in that's the family, where the journey starts from.
The parents have so much influence. So I noticed that you've written types of identity here. Should you impose identity on children, or should you allow them to develop their own identities? What is the impact of imposing identity on children? Is it okay? Is it safe? Or what is the best thing? I think there's a place for every parent, every mother, every father to tell himself or herself, I could be the father, I could be the mother, but I don't ultimately determine the identity of my children.
It's important we understand
It's important
that.
because if you have 17 children, you will realize that these are 17 different people.
Personalities.
Even if 7 of them are girls, there will be 7 different girls. They won't have the same taste. Even if you have twins among them, the twins, even if they are the same sex, maybe 2 males or 2 females, they will still be different.
Yes.
And so there's a responsibility, huge responsibility on parents to identify very early the identity of their children, and that ought to guide their parenting, the decisions they make concerning each child. So there will be no more room for laziness. It will not come to, I know who he is. This will not go well with him. Yes. I know who she is. She will not benefit from this particular thing.
Yes.
So I have to create a peculiar arrangement to accommodate for his difference.
Yes.
So that even though it's different, it should not lag behind. It should not be left behind. It's important.
Yes, and it's important that we understand that every individual is special. You know, sometimes we look at people and we wonder, how do they fit in? How do this person fit in? This person is an introvert. He always loves to be himself. There's a reason why God created that individual like that. You can have a child that is always into himself, wants to do his own thing, wants to have his own space and all of that. Don't force that child, because what happens to fake identity is that people oftentimes force people into a mold. They have false expectation that does not align with this person's personality, and at the end of the day, we force people to carry on fake identities. They are not real. They are not true to themselves. So you find somebody at your place of work, he is not just an happy person. He becomes an angry boss. He takes it out on everybody. Somebody has forced an identity on that man. He's not he's not doing what he loves to do. Okay. You see, people truly enjoy what they do when they are in their full form in terms of identity. Yes. When they're in their full form, they're in their element, they enjoy what they do. Whether they become actors or actresses or become bankers or lawyers or doctors, they enjoy what they do. They get creative at what they do. They blossom, they are fruitful, they flourish at it. But when people are forced, that's why you go to a school, you will see an angry teacher. She does not want to teach. Economy has forced her to become a teacher. She's not wired to teach children. And the school has employed her because they are paying her 70,000, 100,000, and she's not doing what she loves to do. I remember there was a time we were watching a particular, I think, reality TV show, American Got Talent, that there was a dentist that came on the show that was dancing. She said what she loves to do was to do the rope dance. And For years, she had been, when she leaves the hospital, she will go about doing this. That's what she loves to do. But there's a societal expectation. How can you become a dancer? Who profits from dancing? How does it speak well? How does our family, how will you allow our family to look like when you go about dancing? And that's why we oftentimes place false identities on people.
We try to please.
Yes, we try to impose. We do a lot of work imposing.
The elders imposing, the younger ones trying to please. In the long run,
nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy. But people ultimately try to abandon what they are not happy with in life. Because once they start failing and they start getting frustrated along the line, they want to reconnect with their true original identity.
Yes.
And that is why sometimes it takes a rebellion or revolution to see the younger ones trying to find their own path. I've tried all along to please my parents. I've done everything for my mother, for my father. At this point, I want to do it for myself.
You see, a lot of stories we've heard and we've seen how that children will go to school and go and study that law, study that medicine, only for them to come back and drop it on their parents' lap and say, I have studied the medicine for you.
This is your certificate.
Now, this is your certificate. I'm going to do my thing. So you see,
imagine the person going back to catering.
Yes, but there are some people that are not bold enough to even do that. Some people, they just keep gullibly
following. Go to hospital, you don't want to meet them. You don't want your child to meet them.
You don't want that doctor to treat your child.
If they nurse,
because they're just bitter.
Yes, they transfer the aggression.
Yes.
On other people.
And guess what? They also transfer it into their marriage. They get married and they get angry at every slightest thing because they are not happy with who they are. The true them is Eden. Yes. It's not finding expression. So they get married to a man or a woman and they are struggling. They can't even connect. Because when you have not found yourself, how do you connect to another person? How do you get joined? How do you cleave to another person? You see, so identity also affects marriage.
Yes.
You see how this is such an important issue. They say
you can't give what you don't have.
You don't have. And those individuals who have gotten married now has children, they transfer the same thing. This identity crisis just keeps getting deeper and deeper and is affecting the fabric of the society.
So that's why I think it's important for us, wherever we are right now, everyone watching this podcast, wherever we are in life, we should stop passing the blame around.
Yes.
We have done a lot of that. Ultimately, each person has responsibility for the man, the woman that he or she becomes. You cannot say it's because of your mother that you have become nothing.
True.
My life is messed up because of my parents. That kind of excuse can only last you for a while. A time is coming that nobody will be willing to listen to the idea anymore.
True.
There are times in life when people, there are times in life people rub your back. People say it is well, you'll get well, you'll be fine, it will be okay. A time is coming, they are like,
you need to get up yourself.
Is it not enough of all this?
Yes, enough of the pity party. You need to get up and let your life have meaning. Make something out of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
It's important. So you don't keep, sulking. It's because they said this to me. It's because they did that to me. It's because I was born at this particular position. If I was born as the first child, maybe my life would have been better. It's because I'm the last one and I had to fit into the mold. All these excuses, it comes to a time when it needs to stop and you need to dust yourself up and actually look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself the truth and find your true identity, because ultimately it all now depends on you. It's your life after all.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. It's your life. Dust off the
pains and the regrets of yesterday.
Yes. Dust off the excuses. Accept responsibility for the man, the woman that you must become. Understand that your parents have done their best. It's time to start your own best. and understand that it has not yet been revealed what you can
be like. Yes.
Your life has not yet been fully unfolded. Don't give up. Don't summarize. Don't conclude on yourself yet. There is still more potential. There are still more potentials in you. You can be better. You can be greater. You can still acquire more knowledge. For somebody who has lost marriage in the midst of this identity crisis, you can still get married again.
Yes.
For those who have lost their jobs, you can still get it back. But don't forget, it is easier for you to be true to yourself.
Find yourself.
It is cheaper. It is more convenient. It is better. It is more rewarding to be yourself. So find yourself. And before we go in this episode, I really want my wife to quickly run through the types of identity with us. She has mentioned a couple of them in this episode, but I want to read them out so that she can talk about them very quickly, and we can wrap up as quickly as possible. So, looking at the types of identity, I can see here false identity, fake identity, imposed identity, true identity. Is there anything like believed identity too?
Yes. So believed identity is ultimately what ties all of it together.
Okay.
So starting with false identity. False identity is simply believing a lie. Falsehood is a lie. So when you are living your life against who you truly are. So you're trying to become an extrovert. So you're getting high, taking alcohol, doing drugs so that you can feel among, so that you can be bold, you can be confident, you can come out and talk. When truly you are an introvert. That's false identity.
Okay.
So you're trying to be who you are not.
That's false identity.
That's false identity.
Is it different from fake identity?
Fake identity is now taking up an identity of somebody else. So that's what they do with when people are trying to become like celebrities. Okay. So you suddenly become a fan of Michael Jackson, for instance, and you want to talk like him, be like him, dance like him, live his life. You want to join the things he's doing. You want to join the trend or every association. That's fake. That's not you. You are not Michael Jackson. So it's important that people stop that, because when you do that, you lose yourself. Now you make people believe that's who you are, when truly that's not who you are.
Not who you are.
Yes.
So what about imposed identity?
So imposed identity is what oftentimes society does to people.
Okay.
So society imposes on people. For example, you see a young boy and the boy, because he loves to work with his hands and do some things, and you now say, okay, no, because he's doing this, he must become an engineer. Oh, because his father was a doctor and his uncle was a doctor, he becomes a doctor. So that's you are imposing the identity.
Another aspect that many people may not be comfortable with is, because I'm a Christian, my child must be a Christian. I'm a Muslim, my child must be a Muslim.
Yes,
my child must be who I am. I'm a traditionalist. My child must be a traditionalist.
Yeah.
Yet every child has the right to become who he or she is created
to become. Yes. So the imposed identity.
Imposed.
Yes.
It's also like sometimes it could be peculiar to individuals, but it could be a group identity.
Yes.
With this, all we are in this house, in this family, this who we are. This is what we do. We don't do this. We don't do that. Why? We are of this. We are the Adelakuns.
Yes.
We are the Johnsons. We are the Williams family.
We don't take nonsense.
There's no choice there. It's imposed on each member of that family.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's imposed identity.
So the last one is the true identity.
The true identity is when you connect to the real you find yourself.
Okay.
So it's not about where you're from. It's not about the position you were born in your family.
Okay.
It's not about your location. It's not tied
to. It's not about the school you went to.
It's not about the school you went to. It's not about the friends that you have.
It's about from within.
It's from within, the true you, who God has made you, connecting to that person. That's your true identity.
Your core.
Yes. So that's true identity. So true identity is that identity that is what you must believe. That is who you are.
Yes.
You must not be fake, you must not be false, and you must not have an imposed identity. True identity is what you must find. You must find your true identity, because that's what will give you joy. That's what will lead you into your fulfillment.
I must find my true identity.
Yes.
And when you find it, celebrate it. People will only celebrate you if you begin to celebrate yourself.
True.
There's a saying by a great woman of God in Nigeria is that if you don't say I am, nobody will say thou art.
Very
It
true.
is what you call or who you call yourself that people will call you.
True.
If you have never called yourself an electrician, nobody will call you one. If you have never looked at yourself and call yourself a creator, nobody will say you are a creator.
Very
so
true.
ultimately, people call you by what you call yourself. So when you find your identity, eventually call yourself by that identity. Don't be too humble to identify yourself.
And don't be ashamed of yourself.
Don't be ashamed of yourself.
Yes.
Don't be too humble. Don't be ashamed of it. Accept who you are. Confess who you are. And be who God has really made you to be.
And if there's any competition you should have in life, is to become the next best version of yourself.
you.
Yes.
Because there are layers to you. There are layers to you. So
You
be
keep
better.
unfolding.
Keep improving. Keep
Yes.
getting better. Keep getting better. This is where we're going to end in this episode of Destiny Uncut. I'm sure everyone listening, everyone watching has gotten something in the
Yes.
midst of the conversation. It promises to be better in episode 2. I want you to be expectant. By next week, we're going to be releasing the next episode. Until that time, I want you to stay fulfilling your destiny, having found who you are.
God bless you.
All right. We'll see you again.